Ooh, hair looks surprisingly good for this. I'm not taking out my headphones because I'm learning Portuguese and I may as well get two things done at once. This is basically the wrap up for. I forgot what month it is. What month is this? Tuesday. Oh, it's May. Cool. Yeah, wrap up for May. Didn't get much anything read. Working for Moby Dick still, and middle March. However, 3-4 days ago, I think, maybe more, days are just turning into one another at this point, I re-picked up a favourite of mine that I'm actually adapting for the stage. I'm not a big theatre dude, but I thought I'd give a try at writing a play, and it was going pretty well actually. I know a small theatre company that might have been interested in it, but it's definitely not happening this year. It's a favourite book of mine. It is Black Spider by, I'm gonna butcher the name, Jeremiah Gotthelf. Translated by H.M. Wadeson, and I love it. Gotthelf's actually a pseudonym of the pastor's real name, which was Albert Bidzis, died in 1854. Black Spider is, according to like literary scholars, and I can see their point, the Black Spider is in fact a precursor to weird fiction. So Dunsany, Robert Chambers, Jeff Vandermeer, China Miéville, and H.P. Lovecraft. They all do weird fiction. It's like, you know, squid monsters and insanity and all that good stuff. Black Spider's kind of a precursor to it, just based on like what happens, the body horror in it, the transforming, the feelings of helplessness against these otherworldly powers that you don't understand. And I can kind of see the point. The problem is I read like a lot of old fiction, and I read a lot of like religious texts as well, because I know the history of Gotthelf, that he was a pastor. This all comes through. This is a very faith-heavy book, but it's old faith. It's not new faith. It's the idea that it's difficult to explain if you're not interested in faith. So, in the universe of the Black Spider, God is omnipresent, but he isn't attentive. He's offhand in the idea that bad things are happening to you either because you are not faithful enough, or, and this is where you can get into theological arguments, it was part of the plan. And then you can get into really interesting discussions about whether or not that makes God a benevolent or malevolent figure. But because this is written from a pro-church point of view, it is always positive to give yourself up to God. The Black Spider in this is actually an affliction set upon a young woman called Christine by the devil, who appears, and I really like this, in classic medieval form. See, this was written in the 1800s, but its signifiers of Satan is very much based in the Middle Ages. If anybody reads any middle-aged fiction, middle-aged, not like your Facebook wine mom, but like the medieval ages, Satan was portrayed as green. That's where the Green Knight myth comes from, and it's the idea that because green signifies like sickliness, Satan being red is like a fairly new thing. And that's how he's portrayed in this. He's a green huntsman, and he kisses this young woman called Christine on the cheek, and her cheek grows like a black spider, and shenanigans ensue. It's all based around the idea of selfishness, but it's told in a really interesting way. You see, the story of the Black Spider is told in present day to Gotthelf, so 1800s, during a christening party, where this grandfather tells them about this black post that's in their home, and that inside of it is the Black Spider, and it's great. It's it's really fun the way it's interesting, because the way it's told is as if it is a real folk tale. And there's, when the first part, because it's split into two parts, there's the origins of the black spider and its defeat, and then there's like an intermission where they discuss like that situation that's happening. They ask, why is that post still there? And then the grandfather continues the story, and it's wonderful, because it starts off as a morality tale against selfishness, because the only reason the black spider comes to existence is because this evil knight called Stuffhelm, he wants these beech trees to go up to his castle, and his serfs, peasants. I'm actually in a crane nesting ground, so that's why you're hearing a lot of odd activity. Yeah, he wants these beech trees moved, and if they do it, they're not going to be able to get their own harvests picked. And so Satan appears in the form of this huntsman and says, if I have an unbaptized child, I can do it for you. And they think, sure, we'll trick him. And it's a difficult situation, because I then don't, because there's no, it's shown in the text that the peasants can't move these beech trees. God is not intervening to help them. So it does have a very strong sense of hierarchy, and I guess it's insinuated that the evil that the knight Stoffel would inflict on them would be retributed when he died, but that doesn't actually help the peasants. It doesn't help them in the life, which is what they have to live. It helps them in the afterlife, and that's why this probably would never become. This won't be like a resurgence in fiction. Number one, it's too old. Resurgences in fiction, unless they were big when they came out, like Dracula, they don't really have much staying power. There's only like 5 or 6 adaptations of this, and the last one was, God, I think it was like in the 50s. It's just not had the staying power. But there's a lot going on in it, because I think Got Health accidentally also discussed like female mental health in this, because Christine is the only developed character in it, and she goes through so much suffering. And I didn't notice this until I finished it this morning, where there's no passages about a loving God. The whole thing is fearing him. So this is an entire culture just controlled by fear, and that you're rewarded by fearing this higher power. So it's an abusive text, but it's really well written, and that's why I really love it. The descriptions are so strong. The characters they're more archetypical, except for the few that he's interested in, which is just Christine, really. And I think it would make a really great. I'm just fascinated by these cranes over here. I think it would make a really great modern adaptation. I think you could easily make a really tight film in this, a tight show perhaps. But this is an unrecognized gem. I love this. This is definitely a strong classic. That's me. You could also probably read this in a day. I didn't, because I've been doing other stuff. Fun fact, shopping a collection of noir shorts as a full book called The Cocaine Castle is really difficult. So I'll finish up. Also, there's kind of a good description on title. When I saw the black spider, I thought this was a horror, and there's not. The descriptions of the black spider itself are quite horrifying. It's described so brilliantly. The main word of it is that it's poisonous. I love the description of this spider being poisonous. But that's kind of it. You should check out the black spider. I don't check like Kindle prices or anything. I picked this up at the charity shop for like, I don't know, 50 pence, 50 cents, something like that. So I'm just going to leave you with some shots of where I am, and then that'll be us.